didn't feel so much that I was returning. I mean, I know I was, but because my work in the original Batman film was only 5 or 6 scenes, I felt like, you know, and they weren't too dialogue heavy. There was the one interrogation scene with Lieutenant Gordon and the Batman that had a nice bit of dialogue, 3 or 4 pages, but it was just kind of small bits in the film, a big long car chase, which was extraordinary. So I felt like in doing this show, that it was almost the first time. Like the film was almost like a rehearsal for this show, because I knew in the show that we were going to get to dig in really to the character's psychology and ask, if not answer, questions as to why he was the way he was, look into his past, look into his childhood, and also see his ascension through the ranks of Gotham's underworld, Gotham's criminal underworld. So it was a blast, yeah.
Show love, what he meant. Can you imagine to be remembered like that?
Yeah, I feel quite protective of the character, I suppose, just because it was fun and it was a good bit of work that we all shared together, and yeah, I had a blast, man.
When I was a kid, there was a gangster, real old school type, Rex Calabrese. He was a big deal.
Yeah, he's just a man who is shaped, as we all are, by everything that's happened in his life up until the point where we meet him, you know. And he had an incredibly traumatic childhood as a result of a physical abnormality that he was born with his right foot, which caused him an enormous amount of pain, discomfort, and also forced him to walk a particular way to keep the pressure off that foot, which led to a certain amount of bullying, which led to the moniker of the Penguin, which was always a derogatory term. It was never used affectionately. It was never used by his brothers or his mother. It was always used by people as a kind of a tool of cruelty. So he is a product of his environment very much, but he was probably also born with a little kind of break inside him as well, you know.
He helped people. He saw you on the street, he called out to you. When I'm 14 or something, he has a heart attack and dies. Still holding a cigar.
Yeah, I mean, if what you're working on as an actor, do you know what I mean? If it's good, if it's strong writing, and if it becomes personal to you and for you, it stays with you a bit, you know? It should, I think. I mean, some actors, there's no right or wrong way to do it, of course. Some actors can really just turn it on and turn it off, and some stay in it fully, and some have one foot in and one foot out, and I don't know where I fall there. But I certainly know that over the year it took to make this show, from the time we started to the time we finished, and we had a 5-month strike, writer's strike in the middle, where we had to stop shooting. But by the end of it, I felt like I had spent more time as Oz than I had as Colin. By the end of it, you know, I'd spent a good bit of time in this suit, under the makeup, doing some extraordinarily horrific things and thinking in all sorts of manners of darkness about the people around me and all that kind of stuff. So it was, you know, it should get in on you a little bit, but then you go and you have a sauna and you break bread with your family and get a good night's sleep, and eventually you're grand, you know.
I mean, it wasn't fancy, but it was a gesture.